Are you wondering if we are going into a recession? Well, that question is on top of mind for a lot of people. And I find this video that talks about unusual indicators for recession to be quite interesting. Let's take a look at what they have to say.
As we enter the final weeks of summer, inflation lingers, supply chain delays continue, and interest rates are up. While an official recession has not been declared, these factors can make one feel imminent. There are a number of other signals that, while unusual, are also warnings a recession could be on the way. Google search trends. Between July 24th and 30th, the same week it was reported that US GDP shrank for a second consecutive quarter, online searches for recession exploded, according to Google Trends. The term was searched more in that week of July than any other week since 2004. Lemon.io, a marketplace of vetted software developers, analyzed Google search trends and also found searches for "Will I lose my job in a recession?" are up 9,900%. Searches for "What to do when you get laid off?" are up 336%. And searches for "Lost my job, can't pay rent" have risen 467%. MLB attendance. Attendance at games through the first half of the 2022 season was down at 23 of 30 ballparks compared to 2019. Game attendance overall has been on a downward trend even before the pandemic. But luxury and recreational purchases like game tickets are typically some of the first items consumers cut down on when the economy cools down. According to
Stopping there. So they talked about Google Trends and what people are searching. Are we talking ourselves into a recession? Is there enough energy around folks and enough folks scared that we're actually doing things that indicate a recession without actually being in a recession? That is a real thing, is that we're talking ourselves into it, or that we are driving ourselves into that mindset. But I'd also get into this element that I think coming off a pandemic, we are just overly cautious. We're watching the gas prices. They rose for a while and now they're stabilizing a little bit. Watching, just the restaurant, the labor shortage causing inflation as well, where you have to pay more to get people and therefore all the prices are raising. So it does happen that way. It's something to consider. Let's see what the other indicators are as well.
Seema Shah, chief strategist at Principal Global Investors. But Shah also warns a problem with this data at the moment is it's hard to separate what is a post-pandemic fear of large crowds from economic trends. Private label sales. Consumers of all income levels are increasingly swapping out name brand products for less expensive generic substitutes. Analytics firm InMarket reported 46% of respondents to a survey in June said they're turning more to store brand products than before. This also includes Gen Z buyers, whose spending on private labels grew nearly 36% between February and March this year. And finally, believe it or not, men's underwear can also be an indicator. Back in 2008, former Federal Reserve Chairman Alan Greenspan told NPR that men's underwear sales is one way to tell how an economy is doing, as it is typically one of the last items of clothing people look to buy. If there's
a couple things that are mentioned there. One is they talked about the post-pandemic fear of crowds. Yeah, that is definitely a factor, and that factors in. But I'd also go with the post-pandemic, knowledge and awareness and real life experience that cash is king. And having cash in your bank account is really, really important these days. That element of spending cash and not conserving really surprised a lot of people. And most folks are heeding that warning through the pandemic and are not going to get caught again without having cash, without holding on to that cash, because that is what keeps your business alive, what keeps your own personal safety around a recession safe, is to have cash. So I would say that in general, it's not that there's recession the same way or there's this pending recession. It's that folks are being more cautious. Folks are more aware. They had an opportunity. Many folks got stimulus money and got money in their bank accounts, and they used it. Either they used it for what they needed to use it, or they saved it, and they're looking for ways to use that money very wisely. instead of just frittering it away. So that's my take on it, is that I think it's just a general knowledge that cash is king and that folks need to be even more conservative with that. The other thing I would say is with our supply chain issues, what we see is that we have to wait a long period of time for some of these products to come over from China, from Asia, when we've had to use other products, private label products, and we're actually satisfied with them. We're finding that they work just fine. So that's another element, as well as understanding the supply chain helps us understand that private label products and brand label products, branded products are often so similar. It's marketing, it's the positioning in the marketplace that we pick and choose where does that brand make sense and where do we need to have it in our lives and where does it not make sense that we can use a private label or off-brand label as well. Let's keep watching.
A dip in sales? This could mean wallets are stretched thin as household budgets are more focused on food and gas.
Well, that's what you have. You have the element that there's signs of a recession, there's things to look for. But personally, I think we just need to be smart with our cash and smart with our money and not also understand that we don't have all this excess. We don't need all this excess in our stuff in our world. Many of us during the pandemic cleared out our closets, threw things away, got rid of stuff, purged. And it was stuff that we thought we had to have. So as you look at the recession or not recession, and you have a debate about it, look at your own habits and your own spending habits. Coach PJ here. If you like what you heard, comment, subscribe below. If there's something you'd like me to comment on, put that in the comments below as well. Your business profit. Until next time.